from another planet, you probably want to come to the equator. It's a little warmer and nicer there than it would be up at the poles where it's, you got to have a better, you got to pack more clothes for doing that.
Yeah.
Well, now you did talk a little bit about Lewis and Clark, because they're some heroes of mine, and they had a hard time. You know, they got lost and had to ramble around and stuff, and they were doing it all without like telemetry and you know, people talking to them and all that stuff. And how's this kind of similar to what the Lewis and Clark did?
Well, Lewis and Clark are very smart in that they didn't go up to Thomas Jefferson and say, "Oh, we can explore for you, but we need to take about 3,000 caravan wagons, all sorts of food to support those wagons, all sorts of food to support that food that supports that wagon."
Caterpillar tractor to dig the holes.
Exactly. And so they instead had a very light mission. It lived off the land. It traded. It hunted. And using that.
You're not going to be doing that on Mars, right?
No, not much trading or hunting, but we will be living off the land. See, when we use the Martian atmosphere and use the indigenous resources of Mars, we lessen the amount that we have to bring along with us, and that lessens the cost, so that we have a very affordable mission.
It's like here, you got a greenhouse. Right?
Yeah, that's one way
part
of using the Martian resources.
And a garage here too for the little rover. That's so sort of got the house and the greenhouse and the solar here, and so it's kind of like a sort of a single family dwelling there with but they're making their own food.
Yeah.
So,
and that image of the Mars Arctic Station will really do a lot in terms of testing the technologies we need.
Is this for on Earth?
Yep.
This is the one you're going to do up.
Yep, up in Devon crater.
All right.
But it's this is what it might look like on the surface of Mars, and so we hope there will be a very short period between that and that becoming a reality.
Like about maybe 10 years if you can get the funding right. Sounds like
absolutely. We could do it all with conventional technologies within 10 years.
Now, one thing that's a safety thing that's got me real curious, because you know we got the atmosphere here to protect us, but you're just talking about storm shelters in case of real bad cosmic flares and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How would that be? It's not like you're talking about an umbrella. It's got to be a considerable kind of thing. What would that? How do you envision kind of what a storm shelter would be for, say, the Mars nodes?
Well, it's a really simple concept. I mean, the more mass you have, the better you'll be able to stop radiation. Now, there's some concern, like sometimes if you simply slow down radiation, it'll just spend more time in the astronauts' bodies, and that'll be more harmful. So you want to be careful in terms of making sure you have the best mix of really stopping as much radiation as possible without just slowing it down.
But it's metal.
Yeah.
Some sort of metal structure.
Well, any mass will do. Like pretty much the best mass is hydrogen because it's really dense, and since water has a lot of hydrogen in it, water is a really terrific way of screening out radiation. Yeah, if you were in an igloo on Mars, you'd be terrific. Like one way they're going to reduce the amount of radiation exposure that they would get on the first mission, they're going to fill up some sandbags, put them on top of the HAB module, and so that'll just add more mass, and it's that simple, really, to avoid the radiation.
And it's back to what you're saying, of using what's there rather than having to transport all that weight up there.
Yep.
But you are going to be taking a few tons of fuel. Well, now, one thing about the science part is this got to see, you're not going up there just to kind of goof off. You want to go up there and do science. Now, one thing I was thinking about that is that it's going to be a small set of people up there, and you're far away. How do you do like the peer review part of it? You know what I mean? Because there's nobody going to be up there kind of looking over your shoulder, so to speak.
Well, the people who do go to Mars will be established scientists. For instance, like the Apollo program only sent one scientist out of the entire 12.
And no geologist to the moon.
Exactly. And instead, we'll be concentrating on the science first in terms of our Mars mission and making a true effort to send the most qualified. And so even though there won't be someone watching over their shoulder on Mars, these will be proven people with definite background. And of course, they'll be bringing back samples, they'll be documenting what they're doing. And so back on Earth, people will be able to review that process.
And I guess there'll be there'll be communication of electronic type too while it's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
So that there is a sort of looking over the shoulder, but just from a few.
Yep, we'll be getting lots of video, data, all constantly transmitted back from the Martian surface.
Now, one thing about is they're going up for science, but of course they're people and they're going to be up there for a couple of years. And then there's recreation coming into this, and this is the part. See, what we concentrate on this show, of course, those of you who see the show, is that we concentrate on science and art and athletics because it's all sort of part of the big thing. And athletics is an important part that's kind of left out when people talk about that stuff. And so, what I was thinking, and I was kind of thinking everything would kind of progress normal about there, and then a few hundred years maybe you start getting things like, well, because it's the gravity of up there is about 38% of what it is down here. So a high jumper boy, he could take off, and it'd be almost probably better than the moon and stuff. But I was thinking about stuff like, the records we have down here, like for football and stuff like that. You could really fling that stuff out. Have they ever thought about like how you could like coordinate athletics between here and there, given the fact that you got to factor in that 38%. This is kind of like a little far-fetched, a little down the road, but this is like the big picture.
Well, I could imagine sort of an interplanetary committee set up to sort of coordinate things and maybe develop a unified system. But
intergalactic Olympic Committee.
Yeah, it'll still be a little complicated though, just because the differences are going to be great, it would be very difficult to have a team from Earth and a team from Mars directly compete against each other.
I think those Mars guys would beat them up.
Maybe. The Earth guys would have the benefit of they're used to a strong gravitational field. So if it was just an arm wrestling contest, it'd be probably the Earth guys' favorite.